What's up, y'all? It's your favorite coach, Coach B. Today we will be learning how to get in a proper offensive line stance. Let's go. Let's get into it. Okay, the first thing you have to do when learning to get in a proper offensive line stance, you have to identify your toe, your big toe, and your instep. The instep is the curve in your shoe. It's usually located toward the middle of your shoe. As you can see me pointing to it here. If you're going to be on the right side of the ball, then your left foot has to be your up foot. If you're on the left side of the ball, then your right foot has to be on your up foot. We're going to start this position by putting the back foot. You have to put that toe into your instep. That is going to determine the stagger in your stance. Once you have put the toe into the instep, you want to move your foot out to shoulder width length. Okay, do not move that back foot up. Do not move it back anymore. The instep of your shoe will determine the stagger. So you want to be on that same level. You want to step directly across from your instep, shoulder width apart. Okay, part two. Part two. That was the first part, was getting your feet right. Next, we're going to deal with getting down. Okay. So something you want to observe is you don't want to bend at the waist. That is one of the worst things you could do as an offensive lineman. You do not want to bend at the waist. You want to keep your upper body as straight as possible. If you bend at the waist, you'll have a bent over look, and that's when you hear coaches say things like, get your butt down, get your head up. So keep your head and your chin up in your stance will require you not bending at the waist, but bending or squatting at the knees. You got to keep your head up, because how else you going to hit something? You got to see what you hit. See what you hit. And also keep your head up will avoid any major injuries. Okay, now for step three. Step three, we're going to talk about what determines a 2-point stance or a 3-point stance. Okay. So basically, when coaches tell you to get in a certain stance, either 2-point, 3-point stance, or a 4-point stance, it's usually determined by how many points of contact with the ground you have. Okay. You have 2 feet, you have 2 hands. So ultimately, your coach, hopefully, he doesn't ask you to get in more than a 4-point stance. Okay. So here I'm going to run through the stances rather quickly because I feel like these are the easiest parts. This is a great 2-point stance. We can see my head up and my chest is up. My feet are separated, shoulder width apart, and I'm ready to kill something. And the last stance I'm going to go over is the 3-point stance. Pay attention. The only difference is, guess what? You put one of your hands down, giving you 3 points of contact with the ground, 2 being your feet, and 1 of your hands. Now, there are a couple rules about putting your hand down that I could have done better in the first rep, but you can see I clearly correct in the second rep. When you put your hand down, you want to aim for right out in front of your nose. This will keep your body straight and keep or square to the line of scrimmage, as they like to call it, so that you're ready to either run block or sit back into a pass block. Okay, it's time for a couple of random facts. Now, I made a reference earlier to this curve in the middle of your shoe called the instep. Now, if you're playing offensive line, that is where you want to play through. The inside of your foot, those inside cleats of your shoe should be wore down. Those spikes should be wore down because that's where we operate from. Those inside spikes on the inside of the shoe. Also, I could have mentioned more of keeping your hips straight, which I was demonstrating right here in the video, keeping your shoulders and your hips square to the line of scrimmage. I could have mentioned that more. Okay, and my last random point. See the little motion I just did right there with my feet? That was me repositioning my feet to where I'm on the balls of my toes. Explosion can only come through your big toes. So that was me moving my feet to where my big toes are in position to explode, and I could go left, right, or back in a very powerful, fast, quick manner. That's gonna be all for me, man. That's all we're gonna go over as far as stance. Let me know in the comments what video y'all want next, man. Either the run blocking or the pass blocking. We're gonna break it down in grave detail just like that, man. But That's gonna wrap it up for me, man. It's your favorite coach, Coach B.